everybody. Call this meeting to order of the Ashburnham Board of Selectmen at 6:31 PM. This is a Zoom meeting. Any votes taken will be done by roll call. Approval of agenda. There's a couple additions to the agenda tonight. Under other business, we have a sign request for the townwide yard sale. They're requesting permission to put up signs like we allowed for the town cleanup day. And also we have the Board of Selectmen task list to go over tonight. So that's going to be under other business. Could I get an approval of the agenda?
So moved as revised.
I'll second that.
All in favor, Leo Jansen's yes.
Rosemary Meisner, yes.
Bill Johnson, yes.
Okay. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on anything not on tonight's agenda?
Hi, Leo. I would like to make a comment.
Okay,
Okay, it's Meredith Fagan. How are you?
good.
I was wondering when the town hall and the library are going to reopen for the public.
And Brian, I'm gonna slide that right over to you.
Sure. So we're still following state guidelines. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer. We're monitoring it. You know, we're hopeful as of July 1st. We're kind of hoping, we're setting our schedule that way. But, you know, we still wait for state guidelines. I think now that the vaccination has opened up for everybody in the Commonwealth, I think once that runs its course, I think the guidance from the state will loosen up and we'll be able to open a lot easier than we are now. But we're open by appointment. If you need to call, you know, we'll make arrangements and we'll make accommodations for everybody.
Yeah, I've been having some runarounds, phone calls. So who's in charge of that? Because other town halls in Massachusetts are open to the public.
Yeah, some have monitoring staff where they can have some. I'm in charge of it. Some people have someone in the hall where they can monitor who's coming and going. With staff, we don't have the staff capability to have someone for contract tracing. We're not established and set up that way.
Okay, thank you.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome. All right. We are 1 minute away from the hearing. So I'd like to have us do the hearing before we do the town administrator's update. I'm sure Brian's update's going to take us a little more than a minute.
Yes.
We do have Connor Reynolds on the line from National Grid that will do his presentation for the public hearing.
Okay.
If you want to unmute Connor.
Hello. So this is just, there's a new house being constructed.
Okay, Connor, I gotta stop you right there. I have to be formal. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
I need a motion to open the hearing for National Grid's request for a pole and wire location.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Rosemary, you mute.
Yes, you have a second.
Okay, all in favor, Leo Jansen's yes.
Rosemary Meisner, yes.
Bill Johnson, yes.
Okay, now, Connor, we can welcome you and have an explanation of what your request is.
Sorry about that. So there's a new house being constructed for a resident of Ashburnham, and it just so happens where it falls is the road access is through Gardner, and it goes over the town line. And we're moving to serve the house with permission from Ashburnham Municipal Light and Power, as with 3 poles, 2 on the customer's private property and 1 in the town's public right of way.
Okay, your letter, the request in the letter, and I don't know if it's just like standard wording you use. Is there going to be any digging of the road involved?
No digging of the road, but next to the road there will be a hole for the pole.
Okay, so no pavement or nothing like that will be disturbed.
Nope, it's all dirt back there.
Okay. All right. Anybody on the board have any questions for Connor?
Sure. Connor, have you met with the Ashburnham Municipal Light Plant and they're okay with this?
I have not met with them personally, but I have corresponded with them over email, and I got, I'm sorry, I don't have her name. I've been in contact with Brooke. I'm going to butcher her last name, but I've been going back and forth with her, and we got the okay from them.
So do you have that in writing?
I have it via email correspondence. I'm not would you want something formal?
Well, it'd be nice to know that they're okay with it. I mean, they are our municipal light plant and service 99.9% of all the residents in Ashburnham. And I just want to make sure this is cool with them. We have a very interesting relationship with the light plant. I mean, they sort of do their own thing. So I just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
Yep, everyone is on. Do you want me to share my screen with the email, or would that work for you guys?
I mean, do you think, hey, I don't want to be the only person asking for this. Do you think it's necessarily Bill and Leo?
Let me ask this. Connor, do you guys service all of Ashburnham in that neighborhood?
Yes, the closest municipal connection point would be probably about a mile-ish from when I could see when I was out there. And the road dead ends in Ashburnham from Gardner, and it's only traversable by like an ATV or on foot.
Okay. Rosemary, I know we've had similar hearings in the past for this neighborhood.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's Old Gardner Road, right?
Yes.
And Old Gardner Road actually goes through to Route 12. That's why I ask. I don't know where this house is. And frankly, to tell you the truth, Connor, I've never been down there. But I do know that there are properties on Old Gardner Road that you can enter from Route 12.
Being out there, it'd be pretty difficult to go any further past this house. But it's about the proposed pole location is about 600 feet north of Brogan Road. Sorry.
So it's on Wampanoag.
Is that the street name?
No, that's the lake.
Oh, it's not on the lake, but oh yes, that's the area. Yeah. Down Brogan Road is the lake.
Right, so that's on the other side. Yeah, so I know where you're coming from. But what I don't know is it says Old Gardner Road. And so it's off of that. So yeah, that's the thing. Kelton Road actually eventually crosses into and it connects with Route 12 and it turns into Old Gardner Road. That's why I was asking.
Oh, may have gotten the road wrong. It's not well marked, so it's hard to.
No, there's nothing really up there, Connor. So I understand the confusion. Now, I was just trying to figure out what end of it was on.
But it has to be accessed by Brogan Road, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bill, do you have anything?
Just a couple things. So on the document that I have, it only talks about 2 poles. Are we, and if I understood it, Connor, we're actually talking about 3 poles?
The last of which would fall on the private property of the new residents.
Okay, so and then on this letter, it says the location approximately as shown on plan attached. I never got the plan attached, not that it makes a big deal, because I know exactly what you're talking about. So I would like to make sure that we have on file, and you don't have to do it right now, but get the correspondence from the municipal light company over to the town administrator, so he has that on file. Make sure we have the attached plan on file, and I'm good with the rest of it.
And what would be the best email for that? I could send it right after.
Connor, I think you can send it right to me. If you didn't already attach it, I was talking, I think, to Victor prior to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, are you ready for a motion?
No, we have to get formal again. Anyone present to speak in favor of this hearing? Seeing no one. Anyone present wishing to speak against this hearing? Seeing no one. We'll ask the applicant, being Connor, if he'd like to make a closing statement.
I have nothing else to say.
Now, a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close the hearing?
I'll second that.
All in favor, Leo Jansen's yes.
Rosemary Meisner, yes.
Bill Johnson, yes.
Do we have any discussion on approving this application?
No.
Okay,
I'm fine.
all right. Can we have a motion to approve it?
I would move that we approve the petition from Mass Electric doing business as National Grid for the installation of the poles as outlined in their memorandum.
I'll second that.
All in favor, Leo Jansen's yes.
Rosemary Meisner, yes.
Bill Johnson, yes.
Okay, you got the authorization, Connor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, now we'll move on to the town administrator's update.
Thank you, Chairman. So first, I want to update you. I went to a joint water and sewer commission meeting last week. We discussed the water levels. Right now, they're just about an inch above normal, so that's good. That was before the snow and rain mess that we had late last week. So that should only help those numbers. We also discussed some of the CARES money that's hopefully coming the way to both communities. So I brought up the idea to Winchendon. They have an interim town administrator. He's done, I think, the end of this month or within 30 days. But I did want to plant the seed with the DPW commissioner about Sherbert Road, how that water line needs to be addressed sooner rather than later, because, you know, we need to start acting on paving that road. It's been discussed for years, but I'm hoping, you know, we can sway them that if they do get CARES money, that they can use it for that road line, that water line construction, so that we can finally take care of what's out there. They seem receptive towards it, but also near the end of the comment was made, there's a lot of hands in the pot for money. So we'll see where that goes, but at least I made, you know, our recommendation and where we stood with that allocation of funds. Second thing, some of the marijuana review team members, thanks to Dave Perry, one of the members, and Alex Hardy from Ethos. Some of us are allowed to tour the Ethos marijuana retail and distribution and grow facility in Fitchburg. And it was quite a scientific operation that they have there. There's obviously a lot of money in doing these things. Takes a lot of capital and resources. And it was kind of, I think, eye-opening for all of us since we have some trying to come into town. So it gives us a better understanding how those operate in reality. So that was nice. I also had a Zoom meeting with Raina Cemento from North Central Mass Chamber. There were a bunch of us on it. There was a presentation from RKG Associates. It was regarding new regional economic development in the area, how to kind of promote the area in general. RKG, you know, there was a grant that was awarded to the chamber, and they're using RKG to do a study on it. You know, they're looking at a 10 to 15 year long-term plan for the community. So that's pretty good. On the same time, I had one today with the Greater Gardner Chamber of Commerce. Some of the same players, but a couple of different players. And they're also trying to regionalize the area and make us more marketable. So hopefully, that what's good for the area hopefully trickles down and helps Ashburnham community in what we're trying to do here. So both those are pretty good. Also, we had a working meeting with the Board of Selectmen. I had an advisory and capital committee meeting last week regarding the budget. Both meetings went well. The advisory and capital, we're very comfortable with the budget numbers. And they have another meeting scheduled for Monday with regard to the warrant articles on recommending or not recommending. Next thing I have is Montechusett Joint Transportation Committee. I went to the Zoom meeting last week with that. And the 101 South project is still for 2025. The plan as a whole is going to go up for a 21-day public notice recommendation for public hearing comments. It's a 21-day review and comment period. And once that's done, it goes to the next step. But our project is still on it for 2025. And last thing I have is an update from DPW. So basically, I have an update from what they did last week. I'll give you updates kind of as we go forward. But last week, they're getting some prep work done on Holt Road and Kretzer Road. They're doing some culvert work also on Kretzer and on Holt Road. And obviously late Thursday and into Friday, they got ready for the snow, and we're dealing with the snow event on Friday. That's on top of the usual DPW, water, sewer, plowing, and all that usual stuff. But they had to get the salt ready, the plows back on the trucks, and everything ready for the snowstorm on Friday. So that's all I have for administrative report. I have some grants, a grant update I'll do under the grant section. Any comments or questions regarding that?
Did they have a water break last night?
I heard there was they had a water line break, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. All right, now we're going to go to the request for a constable appointment for John Boucher. And he's one of our sergeants, is that correct?
That is correct. We have 2 right now. I think it'd be nice to have 3. If you want, Larry's here if he wants to talk about it also. But it's always good to have 1 more than 1 less.
Okay. So I guess we'll ask you, Larry, since you and Chris have been the constables, do you feel you need the 3rd one right now?
Well, it's good to have the backup. It doesn't cost us anything. And if for some reason I'm unavailable and Chris is, we have a 3rd option. So it's pretty simple process. So again, there's no training, there's no cost. So I would suggest that that makes sense to do that.
And I know you guys don't do the civil side of it like some towns. What do you actually do besides posting town meeting and town elections?
That's about it.
Okay.
We try to stay out of the civil process as far as serving anything as far as civil court, divorce issues and things like that. That's not really the purpose of why we are constables. It's just more or less to serve the civil process for the town.
Okay. Rosemarie?
No questions.
Bill?
Good.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I would move that we appoint John Boucher to constable.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Leo Jansen's yes.
Rosemary Meissner, yes.
Bill Johnson, yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Now we move on to approval of annual town meeting warrant articles. And I'd like to ask the board, as we're approving these to be on the warrant, can that also include us as a board giving our recommendation as a yes?
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. So I was gonna print it out and it was like 12 pages. So how would you guys like to go through these?
I can share my screen if you'd like.
Okay,
Yeah, grab the right one.
and if I tried to do that, I'd knock us all offline.
Hey, Brian,
Yes.
as you're getting ready to do that, I know you had explained to us a couple of times previously about some of the changes that had to be made with the way we're presenting or putting the whole thing together. So for the purposes of the public, maybe you could go over that as well.
Okay. So I'll hit that when I get to that article, I'll talk about that. Okay. So you can see there's 14 articles. The regular usual 6 are kind of up front, and then there's financial ones in the middle, and then there's some administrative ones towards the end. So the first article is a standard article authorizing the town officers and all outstanding committees regarding their reports. That didn't change. Article 2 did not change. The only change in Article 2 regarding the pilot from the light department is the last line. I believe this year it's going to be right around that 67,000 number. So I'm just using that same number going forward. Article 3 is authorizing the treasurer to borrow money if we need to. We haven't had any bonds or any issuances, but it's standard just to give the treasurer the authority to do so if we need to.
It's a good thing we don't, because I've signed these things before. You got to sign in about 10 places.
Yes, you do. Article 4 is the same. It's allowing to spend the highway money. Standard, we do it every year. Article 5 is also standard. It's appropriating, Article 4 is the road maintenance. Yeah, so standard 5 is the same if the bond issue proceeds, if you do the bond issuance proceeds, how they get allocated, and that's the Chapter 90 money. Chapter 6 is normally 2,500. I reduced it to 1,500 because the boat excise is being reduced. We only collected, I think, 1,536. So I reduced that down to $1,500. But other than that, it's the same article. Article 7 is the revolving accounts. That's the standard article revolving accounts with the same dollar values as in the past. Article 8 is the water department. That's a little reduction because the debt service had dropped off. So those numbers have come down. Article 9 is the sewer. That's also reduced a little bit. We've known that the collections have been a little low. So last year was around 804,000. So I have it down to 792. Article 10 has the most change, as Bill was talking to. So normally that first paragraph ending with funds is how that was done in the past. The Cushing was a separate article. The Title 5 was a separate article. So I combined those articles in this one per the DOR recommendation, the outside auditor recommendation, and the town accountant recommendation. What was being done before is being done as separate articles. They were also being included in the revenues in this page. So you were doing it once in the article, increasing the revenues, and again, you were increasing the revenues here. So you were double counting the revenues, and you can't do that. So we removed them from where they were in the articles and just left them in this warrant. I'm just going to scroll a little bit to show you. I mean, last year, they would have been in this local receipt number here in all the years past. So they were counting it here as a local receipt, and they were raising it on the article. So they were double counting it. So this stops the double counting. The conservation wetland fees, that's a new addition. what it is conservation can only go back 3 years to spend their money. Anything before that, they can't spend. It should have been turned into the general fund. So this is making up for all the money that's been left out there over the several years. And I'm bringing it back into the general fund through that transaction. It's still leaving them with 4 years worth of collections in there. But what you'll see is every year, this will be a much smaller amount, but every year we'll just knock off the 4th year and let them have the 3 years plus the current year to spend. The last article of this is the bond premium. When they sold the bond several years ago, they allocate it. The way the state has the allocation is you have to use it towards that bond for future payments. They were doing that, but they weren't disclosing it on the warrant article. DOR recommends to the town accountant that this be discussed and disclosed in this warrant article, because this is actually offsetting your debt service. So that's bringing it in the revenue part, and you're taking the expense over on line 32, the debt service part of that. So that's not what you've normally seen in the past. The next section of Article 10 is what you've always seen in the past. It's the budget side. So that's the FY20 budget and the budget for FY21. And the standard bottom of the article regarding the salaries. The standard explanation, it's a 2.99% increase. So basically what that increase covers is, the 2.5 you can go up. The additional monies is from the new growth. If you see, we're projecting new growth of 125. Last year's new growth was 175,000. So I'm conservative projecting new growth, but that's why that shows above the 2.5% is because your new growth factors into that. So really it's only about a 2.27% increase. The 125 is covering the additional increase in that to get to the 2.99%. So in that's the taxable levy net of everything. So it's last year's levy limit plus 2.5 new growth, the school override, municipal override, minus the overlay. The overlay covers how much you're going to give in abatements, and it covers uncollectible. So we roughly have about 100,000 of abatements anticipating and 50,000 in uncollectible. Those are conservative estimates, but that's what we put in the levy. That gets you to a total levy, which will be raised. State aid is level funded from what they gave this year. All inclinations I've had so far is it's still that amount. It's like $10,000 higher than what I have here through the 2 or 3 committees it's gone to, but I'm leaving it level funded with last year's. Local receipts, I have at 1,849. I think last year I had 1.9. So I'm conservative in my local receipts, and that gets me to my total revenue. Any questions on Article 10? Because there's a lot in there. If not, I'll continue to Article 11. That's the capital, that's the Volvo, that's the 4th of 5-year payments. So next year will be the final payment. And that's been the same last year also. So Article 12 is Winchester Park. We just want to put the control of that park under the Board of Selectmen. I'm waiting for a legal explanation to make sure it's worded properly. Deb Phillips hasn't got back to me yet. Once we do that, that'll be filled in there. Article 13 is a large article, but it's changing the name of the Board of Selectmen to the Select Board. As you've seen, several communities have gone that path, and we're looking to update our name change to be more inclusive. So that's Article 13. You see it affects a lot of sections in the town bylaws. So there's a lot of that. We'll have a copy of charter section that'll be attached to that when it's distributed. And the last one we have is Article 14, which is the old Emmeline Jewel Whitney School to transfer control of that parcel to the Board of Selectmen. Any questions on any of the 14 articles? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
All right. So if we've got no questions, I guess if we do a motion, we can include it to put these on the warrant, and also that the Board of Selectmen will be in favor at town meeting.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor, Leo Jansen's yes.
Rosemary Meissner, yes.
Bill Johnson, yes.
Thank you.
All right, the next thing we have is request from Open Space for $500 for a survey mailing. This was discussed at a earlier meeting, and it's up tonight to see if we will approve it.
Leo, I just wanted to say that Lorraine, she was going to email you to have it removed from tonight's agenda. She wants to discuss it with the Open Space and Recreation Committee at their next meeting.
She emailed me too earlier today, but she didn't include that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why she's not here. And Roger said he was going to be here as well to comment on it, since the planning board is really the board that oversees the master plan.
Okay. So I guess we can go over that. Now I know you would ask me, Rosemary, about putting it on the agenda for tonight, and you said that Lorraine had already asked. So just to eliminate confusion, since you've been corresponding with her, tell her she's got to ask me to get it on whichever agenda she would like.
Yes, no, I saw her today. I'm the liaison for Open Space and Recreation, so she reached out to me.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'll remind her of that. So that would be our May 3rd meeting.
That's going to be our next meeting. Will she want it by then? Well, they're going to need it because this budget's going to go away in a couple months or less. So
Right. I don't know what their time frame is for doing it.
So it would be the May 5th meeting?
No,
May
May
5th is a Wednesday.
3rd.
May
Well,
3rd?
why would we need to do it on May 3rd? This is
Well-
going to be funds that are going to coming out of this year's budget.
Well, we don't have to do it on May 3rd. I'm just saying that's our next meeting.
Whose cat just walked by?
My cat.
Okay.
And she's
I-
coming back now.
I thought I was seeing things.
Yeah.
I would say, I would not recommend we do it on the 3rd. I gotta, that's the day before town meeting and there's stuff going on. I would put it off to a meeting after that.
The 17th.
Okay. Then it's going to be up to you to put it on the agenda, Bill.
We'll see.
All right. So now we're going to move on to grant updates. I have a couple questions before we get too deep into it. The letter that came around about the 101 program, am I supposed to sign that and send it out?
No, so we did that, and based on the, Brian was at the MJTC meeting. Roger attended the MJTC meeting. We received that email from Brad Harris that Roger asked him point blank about where we were with the 101 project. And they're anticipating that there's going to be a hearing in June, Brian, if I remember.
I think so, yes, after the 30-day period.
Yeah, so I believe that it's going to be, we're fine in 2025. The meeting is tomorrow, the MPO is tomorrow, and I do know we'll go out to public comment. So if there's any question about it, but I think the conversation that we had last month at the MPO, you know, we got the support of DOT and the MPO to stay in 2025.
So I won't have to send that letter.
Correct.
Okay,
Can
Am I
can I ask a
second-
question about that, Leo?
okay.
So again, procedural more than anything else. So during that public comment period, Brian, is that something when we as a community should be issuing some sort of a statement or public comment, about supporting that project, or is that for, John Q. public to comment?
It's new to me. And it's the plan itself. I mean, it's not just us. There's it's everybody that's on that plan. There's a lot of communities on that plan.
Yeah, so it doesn't hurt to send a public comment regarding your own community. I've actually received copies of public comment from other communities, have already sent it forward, not on this TIP project, but there's another TIP, and they've been sending their comments in response to that comment period. So yeah, it's not unusual to do it.
So then if not that letter, I just think we should, and if that's the letter, fine, make sure that we do a little self-promotion and get a public comment out there from the town on that project.
Yeah, we can put it on the website, I think so, right, Brian?
Yes, yeah, I'm for that. And we can send it off to Brad Harris and let him look at it, and it can't hurt us. And like I said, at the meeting, I was in attendance, Roger's in attendance, Randy was in attendance. We're definitely trying to make ourselves known that we care about our project to make sure it moves forward. But anything helps, Bill, for sure.
Okay,
And I've received the documents already for tomorrow's meeting, and we're still in 2025. There's no surprise like there was the last time.
okay, thank you.
My next question is, Roger sent something recently. Is there going to be a letter required for it?
What one?
Another DLTA, round 3.
Yeah, it's due May 4th, I think.
Okay, so I'm going to need to do a letter up for that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really, just circulate the same letter and,
Change the
change the date and do
Okay.
all that. But it looks like they have 2, if I'm looking at the correct email, there's 3 planning board options for this grant. So, it says right here, we need a letter of support to include with the cover letter.
Do we need to take a vote authorizing the planning board to apply for one of those, or isn't that what we did in the past? Gave them a blanket recommendation?
We did for the last one, whatever they selected. I think we already voted to let them choose this third one. I think we already voted on it. What we didn't do is we didn't write the letter.
Okay.
Do you remember that, Mary? Did we take a vote?
I believe we did.
Yeah. I whatever they chose, we didn't have an opinion as to what the round 3 is. I mean, it's, from what Roger says, it's just a small amount of money. We might not get it. We've already received grants in round 1 and 2. So it's possible we won't get anything in round 3. So we're letting him choose. So it's correct and improve the zoning map.
Then I will get that letter to Roger. All right, now, do we have anything else for our grant updates tonight?
Sure. So I've got a couple. So first, the MVP grant that we have out there, the town was awarded $22,000 to implement the requirement for municipal vulnerability preparedness. I want to thank the core team and participants for their input. The next step now is there's a public listening session on Thursday, April 22nd at 5 p.m. The purpose, for the grant was for assessing the town's vulnerability to prepare for climate changes, building community resilience, and receive designation from EEA as a climate change municipality. So what that helps is, it allow us to play for other grants. So I just want to be aware that that town meeting for that grant, a listening session where it stands is here. If we can get that designation, I mean, I just received today that there's, I think Rosemary might have sent it regarding some more funds that are out there. And if you're an EEA community, it looks good. It helps you. So just want to let you know that that grant is getting near the final stages and that process is there. The other thing I'd like to ask for, I'd ask for a vote to have the fire department apply for an FY21 firefighter safety equipment grant. It's up to $2,500, $12,500. There's no match. And interim chief wants to use it for radios and whatnot. And if we get the grant, it definitely helps next year's budget. So I'll be looking for a vote to allow them to apply for that grant.
I would make a motion to let the town administrator through the fire department apply for firefighter safety equipment grant in the amount of $12,500.
I'll second that.
All in favor, Leo Jansen, yes.
Rosemary Meisner, yes.
Bill Johnson, yes.
Brian, didn't they just also get a grant recently for radios, or was that the police
That
department?
was the police. The police got theirs. We got theirs through. Literally right after our meeting, the next day, the fire had theirs come in. I'm like, couldn't be a day sooner. I could have done you both together, but they came a day late. So, and they didn't know about it. They got the email after, so it wasn't them.
I'm reaching the age, I'm getting confused.
A lot of grants.
Anything else to add, Brian?
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Rosemary, you're our grant person.
Yeah, well, just a couple of updates. Next week, Brian and I are meeting with RKG Associates regarding the redevelopment grant, the technical assistance grant for the DPW site. Last week, the local rapid recovery grant, business owners were asked to answer a survey, and that information was received, and that business survey closed on Friday. Some of that information will be shared with the state, and I believe that influences, again, future grants and funds that may or may not come to individual communities. Yeah, that's it. I think that's all I have. Oh, and the people from Over Under, who are consultants for the LRRP, are actually attending our Economic Development Commission meeting this evening.
Did you get a good response on the survey from the businesses?
I do not know.
Okay.
It was all done electronically, and I haven't received the results yet.
Okay.
So it was only downtown businesses.
All right. Next, we have approval of minutes for April 5th, 2021 and April 9th, 2021, our work session. I can't find the April 5th. Is it just me?
I thought it was in the shared drive.
Yeah, there was March 15th I found in there for the
Yeah.
packet for tonight, but I did not find April 5th, and I didn't find it in an email. And Mary, you usually email us the next day after a meeting.
I know, I think I might have just put it right in the OneDrive, so I apologize for that if it wasn't an email. I can certainly resend it and we can vote on it the next meeting.
Okay. Bill or Rosemary, have you seen it?
No,
Okay, then I guess we'll put that on for the next meeting.
So that was the 4-9 meeting?
no, 4-5.
I'm sorry, 4-5.
Yeah.
So did you get the work session meeting?
We did.
Yes.
Okay.
So that one we can vote on tonight.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you a motion to approve the Board of Selectmen work session minutes from Friday, April 9th.
I'll second that.
All in favor, Leo Jansen's yes.
Rosemary Meisner, yes.
Bill Johnson, yes.
And Mary, if you'll put the April 5th one for next agenda.
I will, and I'll send it out tomorrow. I apologize for that.
Okay. Now we go to other business. We've got 2 items. The first is a sign request for the town-wide yard sale that benefits the Breaston Hand Center. They're asking for permission to put signs on town property like we did for the town cleanup day.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor, Leo Jansen's yes.
Rosemary Meisner, yes.
Bill Johnson, yes.
Okay, and the next thing under other business is the Board of Selectmen task list. So that goes to you, Bill.
Yeah, so I was actually surprised to see this here. I wasn't pushing to have it on the agenda tonight, but that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that there was a bunch of things that we added on there, some that we've never talked about before. So I don't know if you want us to walk through the whole list, Leo, or how you want us to handle this.
Actually, for once in our lives, we are way ahead of schedule. So take it from the top.
Okay. So these were 2 that I just stuck on there. Again, as I said before, when you manage the list, you get to put whatever you want on there. So,
Yeah, that's true. Or take things off.
so the first thing up was, and we had talked about it briefly, but with the website committee, that I think, again, we're not going to do it tonight, but we need to go through the process of officially disbanding that committee. I think their work's been completed. We're appreciative of that work. Just to clean it up and bring closure to it. I think we should put that on a future agenda to take care of.
Would you like to do that right now and Mary can do that?
That's fine. I would make a motion that the board disband the website committee and send them a letter of thanks and appreciation, which I can take care of as the clerk, and thank them for their service on this project.
I'll second that.
All in favor, Leo Jansen's yes.
Rosemary Meisner, yes.
Bill Johnson, yes. The next item is the schoolboy statue maintenance. I think this came up back quite a while back in economic development, that I think Cushing Academy, which has the schoolgirl statue, goes through a regular process of maintenance on that. And I don't believe that anybody has ever looked at the schoolboy statue to get an evaluation of what condition it's in and if some sort of service needs to be performed. So it would be, I think, a good thing for us to reach out to Cushing and find out who performs that service for them, how frequently they do that, and look at the possibilities of adding that to the list of things that need to get taken care of. That's obviously a treasure of the town, and we don't want that to fall into disrepair.
Might also add to check with the Historical Society. A few years ago, they had a thing where people were dressing up to look like it, and even though they're not a town committee, so to speak, they have taken an interest in it because it's a historical thing. So just to see if they've got any knowledge to go along with what you were just asking.
So I'll just chime in here. So Cushing, the people who look at the schoolboy statue, the schoolgirl statue, has looked at the schoolboy statue. And Cushing, it was actually Randy and Paul, said, you need to have someone do maintenance and repair on the schoolboy statue. So that step has been done. I don't know how much it's going to cost or, who this company is, but we do know that there's deferred maintenance and repair requirements on that statue. And that was probably about 2-3 years ago that they mentioned that.
So probably look into it sooner than later, so we don't look into it and see that it's falling down.
And we can look into it and get a quote, find out what it costs, and then see if we can find the money where it's available.
Mary, didn't you say that we have a vendor who looks at the statues in front of Town Hall?
I do believe that there was a person, I want to say it might be the same one as Cushing, that did look at the one in front of our town hall. and mention the schoolboy statue at the same, I think they come on the same day to do the girl statue at Cushing, but I'll double check with Paul at Cushing. I don't think we've had anything budgeted for a while for any repairs, but I'm not sure if they indicate. I think there's always cleaning and whatnot you can do, but
Cleaning's the least of our worries. We just don't want to see the thing fall down.
Yeah, I think maybe if we can get them to look at it and get a kind of a baseline of what condition it's in, and get some idea from them about the extent of the work that needs to be done. And like Brian said, go out and get a price on it and see if it's some way we can work it into the budget.
Yeah, it's not like getting a price on getting a hole or a trench dug. I'm sure it's gonna probably give us a little bit of sticker shock.
Could very well be. The next up on the list is, again, I just stuck it on there. This thing's been kicking around for a few years. When the renovations were done on Town Hall, we do not have an ADA compliant auto opening door at Town Hall for citizens with disabilities to easily get in and out of that building. And again, I don't think that's going to be an inexpensive proposition, but I just don't think we can kick that can down the road any further. I think we need to get somebody to look at it and get us an idea what the cost is going to be. And maybe there's some grants we can apply for or something like that. But I think we definitely need to get that on the radar and come up with a plan to get that resolved. The last time, and maybe it's happened already and I'm not aware of it, but people started filing ADA complaints against us, and that's not a road we want to travel. We just need to get out in front of this and do what we need to do to make it right.
I agree. I remember when we had the stair chair before there was an elevator, there was somebody filed something against us because the stair chair was broke down.
Right.
And given that that goes to the senior center, and sometimes you reach an age where you need assistance in your mobility, it only makes sense to get that done.
Yeah, and not even that. I mean, you could be somebody that's on crutches or something that needs to get in there, and that's a big door down there. So
Yep.
it's just the right thing to do.
Can you-
Okay.
Brian, can you look into that?
Most definitely. I'll check to the building commissioner, see what requirements there are. And then we'll start looking at vendors and see who does it. Again, we'll get a cost. And if we have to, we'll address it and find revenue sources for that if we can.
Claire had her hand up too, by the way, Leo.
Oh, I'm sorry, Claire, go ahead.
I just want to say that actually there are no public buildings in Ashburnham that you can enter that are ADA compliant. In other words, there's no automatic doors to the library, the public safety building, nor the town hall.
Wasn't the library in the process of doing something?
They have a ramp.
Okay, I thought they had some plans on the whole thing, but I could be wrong on that.
Haven't been
They
to the
have-
library because it's not open.
They have a, sort of a strategic vision of what they could do.
Okay.
But yeah, no, there's nothing definitive.
Okay,
Okay, next up, and that I have on there was the LRRP grant, and I think Rosemary kind of touched on that already. So I don't know if there's any more information we need on that.
No,
Okay.
that's ongoing. They're looking at August, I think, for that, July or August.
And next up, Efficiency and Regionalization Planner Grant.
Yeah, there
Right.
wasn't anyone that we could regionalize with to apply for that grant. That was due, I think, the 15th.
Okay, so we didn't apply, yep. No one to partner with.
Correct.
so does that mean we can take that off the list at this point?
Yeah, I'll mark it as, unsuccessful and move it into the completed section.
Okay,
All right, the EEOA master plan grant.
That's the one we touched on a little bit earlier that Brian touched on. It's a planning grant.
Oh,
So
that's
there's a
what's doing-
variety of things that we could use it for. It wouldn't just be for the master plan. For example, you could use, let's say there are recommendations that come out from the MVP process. There are monies available, as Brian said, that could help us take action on those recommendations. They have a whole list of things that you could look at.
All right, the Whitney Pond Dam removal. Looking for an update as to where we are in that process.
Yeah, I've checked with DPW and Power to see where they are with that.
Okay, committee member appointments are, I think we're awaiting to make an appointment on the Affordable Housing Trust. This it may have been kicking around for a while too.
Right, we have one application and one vacancy.
Is-
Brian's the chair.
Yeah, we'll put that on the next agenda to appoint that person to the committee,
Okay.
and then have a committee meeting right after we do that and get that.
All right, and then, so that takes care of the next one too, the Affordable Housing Trust Committee quarterly meeting, and that training that was talked about, Rosemary, is that?
It's not been scheduled yet. It has not been scheduled yet. I'll reach out to Shelley again.
Okay, town-owned parcel auction. I know, Brian, you talked about that briefly last week at our working session. When would you anticipate us seeing a list of potential properties that?
I'd like to have a list before the end of the month with the properties on it and scheduled for a late May auction. That's kind of what I'm looking to do.
Okay, thank you. Bresnahan pool cleanup. I know there's a committee that's working on that. I know, so there really isn't probably an update that we needed on that right now. The AEDC sign project, I know that's on the agenda for their meeting tonight. Hopefully they're going to come back to us with a recommendation of how we should proceed. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, or actually our last meeting. And the next one is the presentation for town meeting that you're working on, Rosemary, correct?
Correct. Yeah, go ahead, Mary.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. Yeah, no, it's just me like reverberating across the room. Yeah, I'm working on it. I did want to just try to get a better handle on, we had discussed advisory, preparing something. Brian, have you reached out to them or?
I haven't. I'll talk to them at our meeting on Monday, and I'll talk to Capital also, whether they want to talk about, the capital part that's in there, and advisory wants to take some of my slides. So I've gotten most of my graphs ready and most of my slides. I think I have 3 more of my pages to do, but a lot of mine are already complete.
Yeah, so I'm a light in municipal projects. I don't think I have, there's somebody I don't have information from. I got assessors, commercial development, engineering, infrastructure, stormwater management, other grant. I got a lot. Larry, if you could get something together, that'd be great. I can put it under other grants. I did include, Mary sent me information on the Council of Aging's COVID-19 pandemic response. I thought that was, a good thing to put in here.
When you get done, I know how you broke it down last year that we got this grant, we got that grant, but I don't remember, so I'm gonna ask it. When you're all done going through that, do you have like a master number so we can show the townspeople that we were able to bring in 100,000, 200,000, however much it was total?
No, I don't have that. So we go through them and some of them actually have numbers associated, like the fire department, but the stormwater management, we don't have anything on that. We don't have anything on land management. That's another one. We haven't conserved anything or anything like that.
Talking about the Jewel Hill because I kind of finalized it, but I guess it was on last year.
It was on last year's, yeah.
Put it on again this year.
But you get numbers so that when you're done describing the grants we've received, you can tell the people for a grand total of X, correct?
I don't have those numbers though, Leo, so we'd have to get those from whomever applied.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have numbers for the grants that I applied for, but yeah, no, I don't know what, some of this stuff is.
So that's pretty much, we put the two chiefs on the hot seat and Rogers applied. And has economic development applied for any?
Well, theirs will be this year. It was for the LRRP.
So it
And the
wouldn't.
rail trail feasibility hasn't been awarded yet. We don't know if we're going to get that, but I can certainly put everything in the summary. So at the end of all these individual slides, we have a summary, and then we move into the budget. And what I thought advisory could do were the beginning slides where they talk about financial accomplishments, budget highlights, things like that. Maybe they do that, and then Brian comes in with all of his graphs.
It's just that grand total would be nice, because a lot of people say, oh yeah, they do grants, but I don't think people really realize what gets brought into the town for grants,
Mhm.
number wise.
Yeah, I'll pull the ones that have already been given to me and then send them to you, Mary, so you can track down some of this stuff.
Will do.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to skip over a bunch of them here because we've recently talked about a lot of those things. I want to jump down to website cleanup. Now that we've got the report from the website review committee, I think this has been on the list since December about getting boards and commissions and department heads to go into the website and get rid of the stuff that doesn't need to be there anymore. And I think we need to, I think this needs to be a priority. I think we need to pick a date when we expect to have the work done by, and we need to make sure the work gets done. We have got to start moving forward with that website. And one of the first things we have to do is clean it up and get that stuff out of there.
I can reach out to the boards and committees again, the chairs. I know that they'll all change after the election, so that it might be a good time to go in there and change the names at the same time, look at the information.
As you're speaking to them, Mary, you can tell them that it's the board that's requesting that this gets done.
Yes, will do. I did reach out to Comfort Zone as well. They're working on putting together a price for a facelift and whatnot. They did say that they can't host the town. We do need somebody like a Civic Plus for security in the domain. They're not able to offer that service to the town.
Can our IT guy, can they offer any service, or can?
I can reach out to Suzer.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, are you talking about somebody that's going to actually maintain the website and make sure information gets placed in there in a timely manner? That's what we're talking about?
I believe they could do something like that. They're putting together a price on a few things for us. They're just doing some back information. I believe it's just the hosting it. You do need a company like Civic for security and domain reasons. They're not able to do that, offer that services.
Well, we have an existing contract with Civic Plus that runs for at least another couple of years.
Correct.
So we're not in a position to do anything with that anyway.
Yeah, they were just talking in the future that they're not equipped to do that.
Okay, so what I'd like to suggest, Leo, is that would be to take Mary's suggestion and wait till after the election and all the boards get reorganized. And then I think that letter needs to come from the Board of Selectmen versus putting Mary on the spot to write that out. And again, I'd be happy to do that. But now that we have all the updated information, we can get that out to them and explain what we're trying to do. So we've waited this long, another couple of weeks won't make much difference. Okay, jumping on to the next page. As you know, the bylaw review committee is working on updating the general bylaws and the zoning bylaws. We're working our way through that process. Complete Streets is getting ready to start. I think that contract's going to get signed later this week, Brian, I believe. And then right now, the tentative start date is May 24th or May 25th on the Complete Street Sidewalks project.
We discussed that, what was it, code plus at our last meeting?
General code.
General code. Just another, my wife works for an attorney now who's the city solicitor for Gardner. And I, just for the heck of it, I said, ask him what he thinks of it. She said he loves it. So that's another positive testimony for it.
Perfect. You know, I think I am going to call it a night as it relates to the rest of the task list. So let me go through and
You
update
have,
this.
this is your chance now. Don't screw it up.
You know, I will have many other chances. I can promise you that. So,
Can I add one more addition?
absolutely. I have blank spaces.
I see that, and I tried to add it into this, but it's read only, so I got, blown off. But yeah, let's start looking at a housing choice, getting housing choice designation, because that's another thing that influences whether or not we get grants, and particularly infrastructure grants.
What does that mean, housing choice?
So we need to have certain bylaws in place, which we have to do anyway, because we're required, because we're an MBTA community.
Okay.
We have our housing production plan. We've updated our housing chapter. We have an affordable housing trust committee. We've been moving towards that, but we need a few more things to wrap it up. And then because we're a community of under 7,000 population, we can apply for grants, and it could be for infrastructure. So other communities have recently received funds to do sidewalks, to extend water and sewer pipes, things like that, to housing developments.
So we got to hurry up and do it before this other stuff kicks in and we go over the 6,000 population.
Yeah.
Then we'll be disqualified from.
So that's it for me for the task list.
Okay. So that's covered all of our other business. So now we go to reminders.
Okay, the Keep Ashburnham Beautiful project is this Saturday, April 24th. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. And that's a private group of citizens that's organized this event to work on cleaning up Ashburnham. There are currently over 100 people that have volunteered to participate in this program, as well as the Lions Club, which is will be working on Route 12, cleaning that up. So if anybody's interested in participating in that, they do have a spot on Facebook that you can go on and look at some more details there if need be. The annual town election is April 27th from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at John R. Briggs Elementary School. And we hope everybody gets out, participates in that. Early voting and absentee ballots are due back to the town clerk no later than Monday, April 26th by 12 o'clock noon to get those in. The next Board of Selectmen's meeting will be Monday, May 3rd, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. And that will again be a Zoom meeting. And then that'll be followed up on May 4th with the annual town meeting at 7 p.m. at Oakmont Regional High School, which was, well, the warrants that we went over tonight. And that is it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, then I would entertain one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Brian just,
Oh, we get one more thing.
Mary, do they need to sign the warrant?
Yes, if they can come in and sign it, I can get it posted.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Mary, what time are you in the morning?
7 a.m.
Okay. Very good.
I can't do 7 a.m.
Well, we don't have to sign it all together, but
I know, but I don't even know how you do it, Mary. I'm sorry. 7 o'clock, not my cup of tea.
And I'll have the appointment slip ready too, if you could sign that as well, Bill, for John Boucher.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor, Leo Jansen's yes.
Rosemary Meissner, yes.
Bill Johnson, yes.
Mary, on next agenda, would you put down reorganization of the board, please?
Will do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good
Good night,
night.
everybody.
Good
Good night.
night. See you. Thank you.
Thank you.